Welcome to the Mindset Design Podcast with your host, Arlin Moore. In this podcast, the hope is to provide the listener with actionable advice and inspiration to inspect their own mindset and make the changes they need to achieve success and fulfillment in their own life. Guests include celebrities, multimillionaires, social media stars, artists, and everyday people who have found their internal happiness and created a life they perhaps at one point never thought possible. If you'd like to support the show and learn more about mindset design, visit mindsetdesign.com or go to who.be/Arlin. That's HOO.be/Arlin. Or simply share an episode with a friend. That would be fire. Enjoy the show, and here's your host, Arlin.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Arlin. Welcome back to the Mindset Design Podcast. Today we have a very special guest, one of the first guests I've had on the show, actually, that it is truly my first time meeting in person. But this is a guy who I've known about for, I want to say, just under a year. His name is Kendall Shaw. He is a e-commerce entrepreneur. I'm sure you might have a better way to describe yourself. That's probably the most vague way to put it. Kendall, but he is Kendall on Instagram. And I've just heard really great things about what Kendall's been doing from people who've gone through my programs, people who've been following me, and from other entrepreneurs that I'm friends with. I've just heard really amazing things about Kendall. He's 20 years old and he's accomplished a lot in his time as an entrepreneur. So Kendall, welcome to the show. How's it going?
Thank you for the great intro, man. It's nice to be here. And I'm doing well. It's just Tuesday night, beginning of Q1. So just been head down, focused, working with the team as well. But I'm definitely excited to dive in. I think we're gonna have like a lot of unique conversations, and your audience will definitely be able to resonate with some of the stuff we'll go through. So I'm definitely excited to connect today.
Yeah, bro. I think we have like one thing I'm excited about is I think we have pretty similar audiences in the sense of like, we have a lot of young people following us who want to start businesses, make money online, and really carve out a path that isn't the traditional college 9-to-5 that, you know, society pushes you into. So, you know, why don't we start there? I think you have a funny story about a Wakanda Forever product or something like that, where you made something like $60,000 in high school.
Yeah.
So tell us what's going on with that.
For sure. So in high school, I got into like digital marketing when I was just really in high school, because I feel like that was like back when Ty Lopez, like, I don't know if you guys remember the Here in My Garage ad.
Of course, bro.
That ad probably started so many people's careers in digital marketing. So I basically, I got into like SMMA. Before, I'll go like kind of backstory before I got into actual the t-shirt, because the t-shirt's like the kind of the first success, right? And I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs, or even anyone, you know, specifically younger demographic that are younger, that want to get into business, like they don't have the delayed gratification. So kind of when I started my entrepreneurship journey, I tried to learn pretty much everything from how to run ads to even just how to build Shopify stores, and actually basically started my own marketing agency. And that failed completely. Like, it was so bad. Like, I tried to get clients, and like I closed a couple business owners, but I was like, how would I even run an ad? Like, I didn't even know how to run ads. I was like 15. So at least I closed people. And then I was like, okay, let me step back and get into e-commerce so I can learn how to run ads. And granted, in high school, I actually was able to basically study e-commerce for a class. Actually, it's crazy enough. So I literally had a class where in my senior year of high school, I got to choose any topic that I wanted to. Because I took like AP classes in high school. I was like a dual played athlete. I was an athlete as well. So basically, I took this class where I could study anything I want. I studied drop shipping. So basically, I did that for like a year and a half, learning e-commerce and digital marketing, buying courses, reading mentality books and like self-help books, which is super important. And then that following February, as soon as I was able to have a payment processing account, started a store, and I just knew the skills that I had, because I got into digital marketing with influencers back in like 2012, 2013, 2014, like around that time, like when it was like right when Instagram and Twitter were just like, right when iFunny basically died off was when I got on Instagram and Twitter pretty much. So that I basically spent all that money, but that kind of like got me opened my eyes to e-commerce. I was like, wow, like seeing $1,000 in a day, like 4 years ago, I was like, what the hell? Like you can do this from your phone. And I was like, after that, I was like, there's no way I'm going to college.
I mean, I definitely relate to the the Tai Lopez journey. He kicked off so many people's careers. And I also relate to like those early ventures that just kind of failed but taught you a lot, like you were signing clients, but it was like, how do you even do this? So I mean I mean we have a similar experience there, although you started a bit earlier. You started at 15. I didn't really get into the world of e-commerce till I was around 18. And I think that's probably when Tai Lopez put out that video. When I was 18, you were probably 15. So that's funny to look at that timeline. What was it in your past that got you into wanting to make money online and like this, like be even interested in Tai Lopez in the first place?
That's a great question. My dad, I would say definitely my parents and the environment I was in. My dad worked for a lot of big companies in like the tech space, like coding and finance. So like growing up, like when I was 3 years old, I had a computer in my hand. So I knew I wanted to get in something like technology related, like stocks. So I just like the first thing is like being in an environment that's like positive for that. My parents definitely like I made me read a lot growing up. And also like I feel like every high schooler, like if you're a high schooler listening to this, like every high schooler like goes to that period. Even I can see it with my own brother, that period of like finding themselves. And it's not like you're actually, I feel like you never quote unquote find yourself. But it's like you're always like refining who you are, figuring out what you want with your life. So I went down a path where I was just like partying a lot, hanging around with wrong people, doing drugs. I got in trouble on spring break, actually, got in trouble. And that kind of was like the switch for me. It was like, okay, because like I'm the oldest in my family. So like whatever, I have to set that example for my younger brother and also, carry my legacy on. That's how I really view life. That's how I've always viewed life, just because that's how I was raised. So after that happened, I kind of just was like, all right, I got to go all in on being the best version of myself. And that's been like, that was like almost 5 years ago, actually, 4 or 5 years ago. So ever since then, like I've been going all in. And I think like the habits that I had when I was young, like specifically, definitely like foster. I knew I wanted to do something in business. I was always an entrepreneur. Like whether I was like, I was doing e-commerce when I was 13, like selling on eBay, selling shoes on eBay. Like I didn't know it was e-commerce, but like I was always trying to do something. And I just like that. I think that habit I think that one successful trait I would say for both of us. I don't know if this is true for you, but I feel like for successful entrepreneurs, is like they're always going, right? Even if like all my businesses failed, like of course it would suck in the moment, yeah, but like I would still get back up and go start something else or do something else that's gonna, continue to help me grow in life.
Tell me about some of those failed projects that you had, because I have a few that I can tell you about as well. But what were they for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I would say the biggest one. I mean, like the first idea I had, my first business. This was in 2015. Like, and I actually I tried to learn so much. I even taught myself how to file an LLC when I was 15 and like get all the business bank account stuff set up. I tried to do everything, but it was I tried to make an app basically that would like have all the apps like Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, like all in one. It'd be like your main app that you go to everything. And I made like some pitch decks and did like some pitch competitions, and then like I just failed completely. So basically after that, I just went back into SMMA and just e-commerce. And I'd say the biggest one is actually the opportunity I left college for was this marketing company called Digitalism. And that like I have a pretty good audience from growing that. I helped take that company to 60K a month, but I just left that because I signed bad contracts and just there's so many partners, and I learned a lot. That was the first business that actually like really grew. So I feel like a lot of those.
And that was when? How old were you?
I was 18 going into 19. So basically after I left that company, I left and like dealt with some bullshit for a couple months. And I started Maybach. Now Maybach was just kind of me freelancing, which is my marketing agency, me freelancing. And then I was like, okay, like I was getting some crazy results and I wanted to build something bigger. So then I actually started the company with like bringing people on in like May of last year.
Got it. And yeah, no, it's funny you had the app thing too. I had the same thing. So when I was 18, I watched so I mean, a little bit background from my perspective, and I'm sure, by the way, if you have any questions for me,
Yeah.
feel free to ask me questions too, because there's that, my audience obviously knows me, but there's, you don't know me really.
Yeah.
And there's probably things.
So the main thing I've seen on your social media, if there's a question I have, is like just like you're really big on like empowering people. I feel like from like the content you post, like where did that like, is that like a part of your why? And like, if so,
Yeah.
like,
So when I was 14, 15, actually pretty similar to you, which is super weird. I was in the wrong, not the wrong crowd, but I was in a crowd that was partying, getting into doing drugs, smoking weed, drinking alcohol and stuff. And that was tough because it was the friends I grew up with. And I didn't have other friends than, that crowd that I grew up with. And I didn't want to really do it, but I kind of did anyway because it was like, all right, well, where else am I going to go? I had one particular night where I had like my first anxiety attack, panic attack. Like I thought I was going to die, all that kind of reaction. And like the next day, I ended up in the hospital, and that just set off about a 3 to 4 year period of just repetitive negative thinking patterns and symptoms of depression, insomnia, just hypochondria. I mean, everything externally was actually pretty good. I was doing great in school. I had a cute girlfriend. I had a new friend group that I am still close with today. Captain of sports teams. Like everything on the outside was good, but mentally, I was just every day was just like negative thinking patterns, not able to sleep, anxiety attacks all the time. And I kept it really under wraps because I was afraid that if I brought it to doctors, that they would hook me up to some medicine and that I'd be deemed like crazy or something like that. So I was really afraid of that, and I was afraid of myself. And when I was 18, I really had this kind of, I guess, like spiritual awakening. um I know you're big on you have God first in your bio, but I had my my Satori experience, and it really just it woke me up. um and that propelled me into college, just feeling totally cured. And that also propelled me into like, well, actually it was Tai Lopez's law of 33% TED Talk. You remember that thing?
yeah, honestly, for the Ty Lopez stuff, I'm not gonna even lie. Like, I just watched like as soon as I saw like the concept of like, oh, and this is why Ty will forever be the OG. The concept of even saying, oh, I can charge a business to make them like 10 times what they're gonna pay me. Like, once I took that concept in, like that's like really what inspired the details for me, because there's so many people selling SMMA back in like 2016, 2017 that don't sell it anymore. Right.
Right.
So I just went on around and just trying, like, started taking bits and pieces of knowledge because I couldn't afford to buy a course,
Right.
like most of my name. But yeah, that's super interesting. What you said, you had your what effect?
Sorry?
Did you have like a Chitari?
Satori. Oh yeah, it's basically just an experience, like an awakening. Like I just had I developed like a self-awareness. Like I became aware of myself. And that, like, for me, there was this Tai Lopez talk where he's saying, knowledge, like read books, you can learn from the people who've solved all the problems you want to solve. So I started getting into like I started getting into like neuroplasticity and positive psychology and like basically rewiring the brain. And I got into that when I was like 18. Then I watched The Social Network, movie about Zuck, and I tried to start an app when I was a freshman in college. I tried to convince all my friends around me who were not entrepreneurial at all to like start this app with me. I learned that doesn't work. And then I ended up finding someone from a different school to build this app, and it just completely failed. It basically, I learned a lot in that year. I filed an LLC for it, but it ultimately just ended up being something we just let go. And then I started YouTube, and I had a few other failed projects. But yeah, so my first win was really just rolling into building my YouTube channel. For you, was your first win that like $60,000 you made with that Wakanda shirt, or was
No, I don't feel
no?
like,
Okay,
and I feel like this is so cheesy. I mean, I feel like, okay, my first win, yes, technically yes, right? Technically yes. But I really feel like my first win is the first win for any entrepreneur is like mastering yourself, at least enough to get results, right? Because I feel like a lot of people, like for a prime example, we had actually a customer of ours, a student, because we have a coaching program. He joined our course, and of course, courses and content can always be better, right? People can always make coaching programs better. I have coaches and my mentors who I've given advice to, but he actually joined our content. At first, he was going through it, he was making results, but he got mad at us that he wasn't getting results, right? And then he texted me a month later, and he said, "Oh, I just did $2,000 in sales today." And this kid's like 18. I'm like, that's just the go shows. Like, even when I was getting content and trying to grow, I feel like you can take a lot of content in, but if you don't master yourself and master your daily habits and like really like do a lot of like self-reflection, like saying like, okay, like not being emotional, be like, okay, like if you're going through like a financial problem or your business, okay, am I doing the right decision right now? Like really asking yourselves those questions. And then like even when I was broke, I was like, okay, I want to make my biggest goal, and I feel like this is for a lot of people, 10K a month, right? That was my first goal, right? I was like, I want to make 10K a month. And the funny thing is, the person you have to be to make 10K, if not even way more than that, right? You have to be that person to get there, regardless of any business or avenue. So that's what my focus always was, like on like the habits. Like I used to wake up in high school every day at like 5 p.m. I was honestly more disciplined then, as weird as, yeah, than I am now, which is like, at least I'm waking up. Like now I wake up at like 7.
No, dude, I was the same way. Like when you first figure out about like routines, you're like, okay, 6 a.m. wake up, 6:10 to 6:20 meditation, cold shower, 4 minutes, but then you kind of let go of it a little. I feel that. So you're saying your first win was just like mastering the self, and then your first like financial win, big one at least, I guess, was the
I mean, I would say my big win was like I had a couple products like definitely popped off for me for sure. But like I feel like as I was growing, like I was really my biggest focus, and this is the year for me. Like this is the year where I want to make like my big money, where like you save a lot of your money. Because for me, as I was growing my businesses, the capital that I had, I really reinvested a lot. Honestly, from 2018 to 2020, a lot back. Like every time I had money, of course I would save money, but I really invested a lot into my knowledge, into masterminds and mentorship and courses, not only for myself, but I have a team too. So just having that information to like, invest into your team members. That's what I did a lot versus like, I feel like a lot of people like, yes, you can save it, but like you can also invest it or into companies or people. So this is the year where like, I actually like want to make like my millions saved, like cash collected, but like, I feel like the bootstrapping process is like super important as like entrepreneurs. Cause like, I feel like that's like, the quickest way to scale is like being smart with your money, but also like not just like paying yourself out a fuck ton when you actually start making money.
Got it. I want to ask you kind of, because while we're on this topic of like starting out, what would you tell that younger version of Kendall, that 15-year-old version of Kendall, to circumvent or what would you tell that younger version of Kendall to like accelerate the path to success?
Oh, that's a good question. Honestly, it would have been like to like, I don't know. I feel like honestly, there's so many things that I did right and also did wrong. Like when you actually like hindsight is like such a big thing. I would say the thing that like I did maybe like honestly is like I should have hired an accountant earlier for sure. Like hire an accountant earlier for sure. Because if I would have had an accountant when I was 18, I probably would have saved way more versus having an accountant when I was 2 years ago. But other than that, I would say really hone in on. I would say I learn systems and processes. Honestly, that was like the one thing that I knew you were talking about Zapier too, so we'll definitely mastermind about Zapier. But I would say that was like the one thing that I struggled with for a lot. And then once I really started learning that, like that's like how it's allowed me to scale now. I have almost like 20 people on my team. So it's definitely not, I'm definitely managing it now a lot different than, how many team members, but yeah, I would say systems and processes. What about you?
Yeah, I think no, I mean that is something I can go into a little anecdote on that. So I've mentioned my friend Felix quite a bit, but like to my people, but to intro you, I've got a friend Felix I met about 4 years ago in Boston. He was at the MIT Delta V accelerator at the time, and he was working on a startup called WadeX, which he ended up selling to Peloton. Felix he's like 27 now. He's this crazy German guy, and he we stayed in touch over the last 4 or 5 years or so. He then got into early cancer detection, and then COVID hit, and he pivoted and started a COVID testing business. 3 months ago, one location, 12 employees. 3 months later, 50 plus locations, multi-million dollars per month, and 1,000 plus employees.
That's
So, and I'm around. So his offices are in actually 5 minutes down the road, and I go and hang out there all the time. And we're actually just started a little partnership between Maxi and their like their higher level team. But what I learned so far from them is their ability to build systems and processes faster than really, fast as possible. I mean, they scaled up to 1,000 employees in 3 months.
yeah,
And it's
that's
funny too, because in like our world, right? And I'm sure you have some big name friends as well who are doing lots of money in sales, right? Or lots of um, revenue, big Stripe accounts. But uh, there is, I mean, there is kind of a cap in, like, at least in my world of, like, building mentoring coaching programs. You see people at like passing that 6 figures a month mark. You see people occasionally, there's like the Sam Ovens type guy, right, who's at like whatever he's at now. I don't
like
know.
once you hit a million, like, because my mentor is doing like, he's doing like past like multiple 6 figures a month, like above at least 600, 700,000.
Right.
So once you hit that, like that level, like anything past 7 or 8 figures, like multiple 7 figures or 8 figures a year is like, that's impressive for coaching.
It is, yeah. And it's cool to see that, right? And yeah, I mean, I'm like, yeah, my mentor's in that ballpark as well. But I walk into Felix's offices down the street, and he's like, "Hey, Arlin." I'm like, he's German. He's like, "Hey, Arlin, how you doing? What's your MRR this, like, how's your sales this month?" And I like show him my Stripe, and I'm all proud. And then I'm like, "How about you?" And he's like, and he shows me, and I'm just like, "Wow, there's levels to this, huh?" Like, he's making multiple what I'm making per month in a day, and I'm just like, and then they're on track to just like completely triple that. Obviously, COVID and everything is a trend, unprecedented trend. But my point being, bringing it back to what we were saying, the ability to build systems and processes is huge. What advice would I give myself starting out? Honestly, I think be much less conservative with my money in terms of personal growth. Because, like, I think there's a period of time where you invest, like, I don't know what it was for you, but for me, I would spend like 2,000 on a course here, 1,000 on a course here, 500 here, and once I realized that the more I invested in myself in a particular direction, the more progress I would make. That changed everything. So I feel like I wanted to like get a quick win. I wanted to like invest, I don't know, 2K or whatever in one course, and then like wait a while to invest again. But like, really, in the last year, I realized the more money you put back into yourself, into your company, the more you get it back. And so I would probably just speed that process up a lot. and really pay the people that have the life and the business that I want. What advice would you give to yourself 2 to 3 years in? So like what advice would you give 18, 19-year-old Kendall?
Oh, for sure. Definitely keep having a job and work harder to have more capital. Because that was what I did basically. I worked at Chick-fil-A, waited tables. Basically, I did that for like 9 months almost, just stacking capital and reinvesting. Had like $3,000, $4,000. So like if you're just starting off, like you definitely need a job, and you definitely need to surround yourself. Like also like something that pushed me forward was like I stopped hanging out with people that weren't like pushing me forward.
Hold up. You had a job when you were 18, 19?
No, I had a job when I was like 16 actually.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying keep your job. No, I was actually the same way. I had an online internship when I was just starting out as well. But so, okay. So you're saying, sorry. So you're saying when you're just starting off, keep your job and have a job.
Oh,
I
yeah,
totally agree. Yeah.
I would say you keep having a job until you're making like double what your job is making. The reason for that is because like with online business, like especially when you're just starting off, there's so much unpredictability, right? You need predictable income to grow a business. And when you're in the growth stage, like you want to like push yourself to the most level just because like in Max, not Max, I'm sorry. That was Maxi. Arlin, I was gonna say like you can relate to this too. Like as business owners, like it's like a double-edged sword. Like, yes, you can make a lot of money and a lot of fun, but also like you have a lot of responsibilities, right? And if it doesn't work, then there's no one to blame except yourself, right? So entrepreneurship is like that double-edged sword. So focusing on like pushing yourself, because I truly believe to make 6 figures a month or a couple million a year, or even make 6 figures a year, you have to be a person of character, integrity, and like habits to deserve that, right? Like working out, eating right, reading books or getting mentors to learn more, about what you want. Like if you're not doing those things consistently, then like a great book that I read was The Slight Edge, and then The Compound Effect. It's like I read The Compound Effect when I was super young. So that like I was like, oh heck yeah, I'm gonna wake up every day, every morning. I woke up every morning actually for 2 years, and like did self-education, and also like did like self-education on YouTube and just books all during high school during class for like 2 years. Like every time I'd walk in a hallway, I would have a YouTube video, literally, a Google Doc, trying to learn. So like that's what allowed me to propel forward, and honestly, it still does now, just because you have to learn like all the information's out there. You have to pay someone or be in the environments to get the information that people aren't talking about.
So you were jamming audiobooks at 16?
No, it was actually YouTube videos, and that's actually funny.
YouTube videos.
Yeah, like about e-commerce, about what I want to learn. I would literally just Google on YouTube whatever it is, just watch it and try and get information, just get ideas. Like for example, I don't know if you know Dan DeSilva. He's actually up in your So Dan, he's one of my friends now too, and I used to watch his videos 4 years ago, and now he's a peer of mine. Right? Like it's crazy how the world works. Because like if you would have told me when I was 4 or 5 years ago that like, oh yeah, you can text, you'll be cool, Dan DeSilva, you can text him. Like when people really look up to entrepreneurs, and when I was young, I did as well, to those people who are really paving the way in like this online space, because it's very new.
Bro, I'm so envious of you and anyone in specific who started at 16, 15, 16. I have there's a couple guys in my group right now who joined and they're 16 years old, and I'm just like, fuck you guys. Like like I didn't figure this stuff out until after high school. So it's such a leg up to start younger. And even like, bro, free YouTube videos are, everything on YouTube is insanely valuable. I mean, as far as like content goes, there's really nothing hidden. It's all on YouTube. Let alone audiobooks and courses.
I'd say like 40 to 30% of it is realistically. Because after really investing, I feel like, as weird as it sounds, like people still need that. And I can even say this is like at my level too. You still need someone to be in your corner to tell you when you're fucking up. And that's
100%.
Someone that's like, because it has to be someone that's at a level in your niche, in your industry, that is already doing what you're doing, right? Less of like, oh, like, because I have family members that like could be our mentor, in a certain space, but if they're like, they're not running a marketing agency or coaching business for marketing agencies, they're not going to be able to really relate to my problems and needs on a
Bro.
minute, you know?
And it's so true. I mean, like, to what degree do you mean that though? Like, what problems or situations do you run into where just like most people just can't relate?
Well, I mean, I feel like, I mean, I don't want to like, this is off the cuff, but I mean, I feel like I mean, I have not like problems. I mean, I would just say it's like living life, you know, like the
Right.
responsibilities that, like when I grew my agency, you know, I have a lot of people that are on my payroll, right? That are my team members. So like, if anything goes wrong, like I have to make sure like the leader eats last, right? So it's like a very different mindset, like, and that's why this year is so important. This really even this month, honestly, is so important because you have to grow a business. Like when you have team members, regardless of how well the sales do or not, like people still have to, you still have to pay people, and like those are people's lives, right? So like, I don't feel like many people deal with that, honestly, at all. But it's a part of the growth, and like I'm excited. You know, I feel like God has a plan for everyone, and I want to impact. And God is a really big part of my life, who I am too.
Let's
So
shift into that. I want to really dive into with you, like what drives you to have this success and what you're really trying to do. Like, what is your purpose first and foremost?
For sure. Yeah, that's a great question, honestly. I mean, I would say what really drives my success is like, I feel like I can be like, as it just sounds like when I was, so after I got in trouble, like I grew up in church, right? But like I didn't really like have a relationship with God. So after I got arrested, like it was really embarrassing, right? It was on the first day of spring break. And if you never heard of Seaside, Florida, like anyone who listens to this podcast that knows what that is, like it's a really fun area, a really nice area. So all my friends from high school knew, my parents were super embarrassed. Like it was a really bad moment in my life, right? So God really like took that moment to like really kind of break me and mold me into the person I am, now, I would say. So when I was going through those processes, you know, not processes, but I was just like embarrassed. I actually we spent spring break with my grandparents. I just really just came to Christ. So what really motivates me, I would say, is I feel like God's given me a platform to be like an example. Really, I feel like a lot of young people want to get into business, and even aside from business, just like are lost and confused and feel like empty inside. And like I went through that a lot too. I feel like people look to be filled and wrong all the different places, like even with money or girls or boys or literally so many different things. And I feel like there's so many different things the world will try and give you to fill that void. But even if you have it, and you can speak to this too, people who have billionaires, you have so much money, but you're still not going to be happy inside. And the reason is because, at least from my point of view, it's because God created us. You know, it says in the Bible, He formed us in His womb, right? It's like we our bodies and we are as humans like desire to have like that relationship with Him. So like for me, once I like fully took that in, and like it wasn't easy at first, like you know, like I definitely like went through a period of like stop hanging out with people, stop doing a lot of things that like I wasn't supposed to be doing, but it really just changed who I became, and that's why I live with so much happiness. And truth be told, like I don't know, I feel like I give this aura to people where like I just genuinely care for people, want people to win, and like money doesn't like money. I don't care about money. As weird as it sounds, like money, I don't care because it's all about like the impacts that we're doing for these people, like for these businesses that we work with at our agency, or for the people that purchase a product or service from me. So that's kind of like my why, and then I want to have a charity too. That's one of our goals next year because we have like some big goals and sales goals this year. So next year we're going to open our own charity. This is actually the first time I'll probably talk about it. Open our charity where we're going to teach digital marketing skills to people in like not like minority areas, but like lower income areas. We'll start in America, but we'll go to other places as well. But I really think that will be a good first step to like helping people. So that's like my why from like a high level.
I love it. I have a lot of points to talk right off that. The first one I want to hit is your focus on because people might look at Kendall, they might look at your Instagram and see, okay, I help brand scale to 7 and 8 figures. Okay, this guy's a capitalist, you know, he's all focused about money. My biggest belief is, where I'm super aligned with you and where I think the majority of people in my circle and your circle, I'm sure, is the focus monthly. Yeah, sure, MRR is great, but MRR is a result from the impact metric, the value creation metric. So like if you are getting results for your clients, if your product is doing well for every customer who joins, every student who joins, then the money comes, sure, but it's not about the money. It's about the value that you pass on. So I mean, I think that is I'm really glad that you brought that up, because I think that was actually a big thing I wish the younger version of myself would get a little bit more too, because you can be very impatient as a young entrepreneur when you aren't making that 10K a month yet. It's like, okay, well, to make 10K a month, you have to create $10,000 worth of value. You go, okay. So if I shift to impact, if I shift to how many people am I helping, it's a lot easier. The money kind of follows, and then you really don't care about the money. Yeah, I mean, any points off that? I have a few other.
I feel like honestly, like for that, like the biggest focus is just like, I mean, I feel like, yeah, I think it's super important to like not focus on like the money. I feel like initially, like when you first started doing, like, I feel like the money is the byproduct of everything, right? Like if you have a good service, then like you should make a lot of money. And I feel like also as entrepreneurs, like this is why investing in yourself and mentors is so important, because like if you're the only person in your circle making 10K a month, then you're gonna have extreme imposter syndrome. And like that's something I struggled with until like I dropped out, honestly, because you need to be like, it was like I felt very energized after I like even speaking to you or speaking about other people that are like, killing it and crushing it, right? Like I always felt super energized being around them, but I never got to be in that environment. So like, for example, like one of my mentors, I pay a pretty good amount, right? Like 2K a month, right? Like it's not cheap, but it's a good amount of money. I just went to a mastermind in Mexico with this group of agency owners. Everyone on there is doing at least 7 figures a year, right? So just being in that environment for 3 days, like just made the amount of money I've made just from the relationships in there is way more than the investment. But also just being in that environment, like I can't like, I don't know. And I feel like something I do that a lot of, if I was younger that were not successful yet, that I would implement is like, always like checking yourself. I don't know. I feel like it feels weird, but like you have to like kind of develop like a third like voice or like a different like persona that's like, yo, like you're not doing this right. Like, yo, you need to be like, you gotta get on your shit. Like, yo, like, you need to be waking up, going to the gym. Like, for example, this is just practical advice. I believe if you're an entrepreneur, like you gotta push yourself like mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, like in all forms of aspects of life. Like, you can't just like, it's like you can't just go to the gym and then be broke. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just like you're like you can't like you can if you want to do life, you want to live broke. So I feel like also not unless like you're in a situation, right? But like I feel like if like you are like being poor is like a mindset, and then also like actual situation in life. Like sometimes people can't, like people are in that situation because they were in it. But like also like if you can be broke or poor. I've been broke. I was not poor, right? But my parents had money, but I was broke. But I had a mindset of someone that was like actually going to make 10K a month. So that's definitely like my thoughts. I feel like you have to have, that's like the biggest piece of advice I'd say, like always checking yourself. For example, like I'm on a tangent. For example, like I'm like a non-negotiable for me this year is like I have to work out at least 4 to 5 times a week because I'm a hard gainer. If I don't work out, I'm not going to gain weight. So I was like, I missed the gym like 2-3 times last week. I was like, okay, I have to go. Like no excuses, and I did not want to go today. Still went, right? Even if it's a small habit like that, discipline will push you much further than people think.
Yeah, 100%. I call it, at least in my groups, like I call it upward spiral. The quality of your workout affects the quality of your energy going into sales calls or whatever it is that you do. The quality of your diet affects your energy levels. And then if you have higher energy levels at work, you make more money, you provide more value. For example, I trained yesterday. Today was a yoga, more spiritual kind of qigong meditation type day for me. We could go into that if you're wondering what the hell that is. But yeah, I mean, bro, I wouldn't be able to show up to a call and have the energy that I do right now if it weren't for those practices. And because I'm having the energy that I do now, this is going to increase the listener rate and just get people more excited about this podcast, get you more excited about me and my brand in particular, right? Give you a better experience of me. Word of mouth goes around. And then now socially, I have a friend named Kendall. Next time I go down to Florida, we can hang out. You know, you come out here, more mastermind, more, yeah, pop champagne, whatever. But the social impacts the business impacts the body impacts the mind, and it's the upward spiral, bro. This is the magnetizing thing that I get most excited about. Let's go back to God, because I actually I put out a podcast about God. It's called God and Maxi, because a lot of people will ask me, how is God and Maxi compatible? Is this okay? And so I put it out. I put something out there, my thoughts on it. I was raised Jewish. I had growing up I didn't take it seriously. I think you said too, when you were younger, you were like, screw this. And then 15.
But for me, growing up, Christianity, I don't just the Bible and religion and church. It was just I wasn't forced to do it. It was I was forced, but wasn't forced. So I feel and this is just with the world, before I want to just rip you off, but the world, going to church and things like that of that nature. It's good, but we'll dive into it in a second. I'll give my opinion on it. You were saying about Max Keegan?
Yeah. So I was raised Jewish, and I was one of 4 Jewish kids in my entire grade of 200. Everyone else was Christian or Catholic or non-identifying, but I would say, majority Christian in my town. And I just didn't get it. I was like, why am I forced to go to Hebrew school? All my friends are Christian. In my young head, I was like, this doesn't make any sense. And then I got to go have a bar mitzvah. I don't even know what I'm saying. I don't know if you have any Jewish friends or anything like that, but I was just
they're all Jewish. So I definitely feel you.
I was like, what is this? This is stupid. And then around 18, I had this, like I said, this kind of awakening, and I started reading. I don't know if you ever read The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand. I'm guessing probably not.
I might have to read it. What's it about?
It's definitely not a Christian book, but it's by Ayn Rand, and it's about what her perception of the ideal man is. It's about this guy Howard Rourke, who basically stands for achievement and value creation as his primary objective in life. But it's backed by an entire philosophy that was super controversial back in her day in the 70s, 60s or 70s when she put it out. Anyway, I read this book, and then I started getting super into I started getting, for about a year, I was very atheist, and I was like, God is doing so I was in this. I don't know if you've heard of Sam Harris. He's a psychologist, and he's written some books there's one called Letter to a Christian Nation. There's some books about Islam and how Islam leads to terrorism. And I was just I went down this path, and I was arguing with Christian friends, and I was like, oh, this is such a big problem in the world. Religion is the cause of war. It's the cause of hating different types of groups of people. And then I came across, and I'm just going to guess. Have you heard of Eckhart Tolle by any chance? You have? Okay, yeah. He's very popular in this self-development world, more so than someone like Sam Harris. And I read Eckhart Tolle, and Eckhart Tolle just completely flipped me around. And he started referencing, passages from the Bible and Jesus. And as I had kind of been connecting the dots between meditation and, my background from Judaism, and I was seeing all these parallels, and I was like, wait a second, this is not about the words and not about the literal interpretation. This is about like God is not a literal like thing telling you to, like a man in the sky telling you to do stuff. I mean, if you believe that, I totally respect it. But at least from what I felt and learned when I was around 18 is that it is like, it's a way, like Jesus is a way, it's a truth, it's a, you know, you embody the characteristics of Jesus, of God. You and you act led, like, to this day I still think on a daily basis, in differing language from time to time, but I think through the lens of like, it's not me doing it. It's like what I do with my day and what I do with my work is not up to Arlin. It's really up to God. It's really up to, I guess, like, you know, what I would describe it as, that all-knowing power. So it could be called, like, the language to me doesn't matter as much. It could be called the universe. It could be called God. It could be called Jesus. It could be called um, but it is that power and that ever-present, all-knowing force that guides me through my day every single day. So while I'm not, I wouldn't classify myself as literally Christian, I do believe in the tenets of Christianity. And
like that he
sorry,
rose back from the dead?
Sorry.
You believe that Jesus is real and like he rose back from the dead?
We could have a long conversation about this, and I'm sure we will at some point.
For sure. We'll talk about it after the podcast.
Yeah. But the short answer is yes. The long answer is I have to explain what I mean by that. Because it's not like, yeah, I mean, we can go into that, because I mean, I love talking about this stuff. For you, from your religious background, is like, how does prayer come into your daily practice, daily ritual, and how does the Bible and Jesus and Christianity come into your daily life?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say like the first thing, like when I wake up in the morning, like kind of, so like prayer is like part of my morning routine for sure, just because like I like to start my day off like right, like with God, and also like I feel like we have to be like spiritually filled, like that's like a big belief of mine, like, you know, being filled spiritually, because I feel like, you know, when you believe in God and you believe in God, it says in the Bible, the Holy Spirit, which is basically like God is, you know, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, and God the Father. So the Holy Spirit, you know, when you believe in God, you are dwelled with the Holy Spirit. So I like to read the Bible, do like a devotion, pray. And I sometimes like take notes as well, like about like my prayer journal, like on my phone, just like make sure I can remember about what I was praying for. And then I would just drink coffee. I take like some nootropics as well, drink coffee, and then just go to the gym. And at night, every night, I try and like, you know, watch like a sermon, like 30, 40 minutes before I go to bed. There's this thing called Abide, which is really cool too. It's like you can see.
I've actually seen it, yeah.
Yeah, so I use Abide a good bit sometimes as well. It's really cool. And then
it's like a Christian almost meditation app, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my friend put me onto that.
About like, you know, meditate about the Word of God, and the Bible it does as well. So that's how it like kind of looks like in my day-to-day life. And I just feel like, you know, also like just being around other people who are believers and trying to impact, you know, others. Like I have a couple friends that didn't believe in God and just hanging around with me telling them my viewpoints. You know, they believe I've seen God do things in their life, and you know, even the growth I've had from my business, you know, is all because of God. Just because the person I was being when I was launching Maybach and being, you know, super dedicated to God, He allowed me to have success. You know, some opportunities. You know, our biggest client, actually, this is on topic. Our biggest client didn't come from an ad. It came over from a referral when I first started my agency. And that business is an 8-figure business now because of us. But we've been working with them for 15 months. So we took them from a 6-figure to an 8-figure business. And that's like been the biggest contract of our agency, right? It pays half of our payroll, right? So it's like, that's like, I can't take any credit for that. So that's what it looks like in my day-to-day for sure.
What's your favorite, if you have one, passage from the Bible?
Oh, for sure. Oh, hmm. I don't know. I like David and Goliath for sure. And then I also, I don't know, but I like a lot of Old Testament stories. David and
Do you have a favorite
Goliath is all.
verse or kind of a line that you, if you had to get a
Um,
tattoo,
yeah.
you'd get it, you know?
Um, I think I can't remember the specific verse, but I know it says focus on the kingdom of God and like everything else will be given to you. So that's kind of like a verse. I don't know the exact verse off the top of my head. I'll have to Google it. I think it's in the New Testament. But the reason why I really like that is because it's kind of like how like I've lived. So I'm far from perfect, right? But it's how I've like kind of lived my life is like, this all this stuff that like we're doing, like at the end of the day, like it doesn't matter. That's at least where I believe, like it doesn't matter because we were put on this earth for a reason, and everything's bigger than you. So it's like trying to impact people and empower people, and telling people about my story and my belief, and just trying to love on others. That's kind of like how I am pretty much from now.
Actually, one of my testimonial success stories, a girl named Grace in my program. One of the cooler stories, people who've come out of my stuff. Um, she's Christian, and she actually came in to Maxi. The like Maxi itself is $12.99 a month, and then I have my higher ticket mentoring. But she came into that, and Maxi helped her overcome binge eating disorder, which I don't know if you're familiar with what that is. I had no idea what it was, but it's similar to like it's an eating disorder, really difficult eating disorder. So Maxi, just the technology using it alone helped her overcome it. And then she joined my mentoring, and now she's become a wellness coach helping women overcome binge eating disorders. So
Awesome.
that's been cool. But she asked me actually yesterday what my favorite verse was, because I told her I love Jesus. I love to say that too, because I actually have a book at home called What Jesus Said About It, and it's just all these different uh, paragraphs from Jesus. And one in particular that I really like is it's Luke 17:21, and it's the kingdom of God does not come with observation, nor will they say see here or see there, for indeed the kingdom of God is within you. Um, so I love that. I mean, and I mean, I probably could, if I had that book, I have tons and tons of highlights, but um, yeah, I have a great appreciation for Christianity, and I think it, can really inspire, and is a great thing.
Yeah, I
What
mean, I feel like with God, like God says seek wisdom and it'll be found, right? So like if you're trying to learn more about God, like why to uh my friends who don't believe in God, or like just I don't like try and pressure anyone. I just tell them how I feel and like how I think it would relate to them, right? The friends that I tell is like, look, like the worst thing you have to lose is like like pray about it, like at least try and read the Bible and see like if God speaks to you in some way. And every person I've told that, actually last two people I told that to, both will come to Christ. So like I would feel like regardless of anyone watching, is just like I wouldn't be who I am today, like if like God didn't let certain things happen in my life. So I definitely, it's awesome that you love Jesus, man, and like we always have a conversation about that too.
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest problem in the world that
Honestly,
that you are trying to fix?
ooh, I don't know. I don't think the thing is, as much as I hate to say this, the problem that I'm trying to fix is probably isn't the biggest problem in the world.
Okay.
It's like there's like way bigger problems that like, as much as I hate to say it, like this is on my mindset, there won't be, it's not gonna be able to be solved, at least how the way I view the world. Like, for example, like as much as I hate to say this, like sex trafficking, right? There's so many elite people that are like trillionaires and billionaires that this has been going on for like hundreds of years that we probably don't even know about, right? Thousands of years. Just because the internet's just been around for who knows now? It has been like 30, 40 years, if that, if not a little bit more. So like that's like example, like of course we can try everything in our power to stop it, but there's elite people like that wouldn't exist if there wasn't elite people that wanted to make that happen, right? So like those are like really big problems that like I wish I could help stop, but I can't, you know, just because just on my viewpoints in the world, like it's not gonna be fixed. It can't be fixed. Because people are gonna do it that are way more powerful than you or me combined, you know. But yeah, what about you?
I think I think the biggest problem in the world is people fundamentally haven't achieved self-awareness, or have, like, people are unconscious. We live in an unconscious world, and people don't know how to use their minds appropriately. They're more controlled by their minds. I mean, I really think the unawakened state that I was in for that 3-year span, and even perhaps longer than that, is the majority of people. Not necessarily symptoms of negativity, like negative thoughts and depression, but I think being run by unconsciousness is, in my eyes, the biggest problem that we have. That is the source and the cause of so many other problems. I think if we're able to make some kind of dent in awakening people in a similar way that I experienced, which is really difficult to put into words. I feel corny saying it sometimes, but that's kind of what I tirelessly work toward. And I'm also open to the idea that I could be wrong in that sense. You know, the biggest problem might be that, I mean, bro, I went on Elon Musk's Clubhouse the other day, and they're talking about, like, you know, those high level problems that I've never even thought about. And I'm just like, oh, maybe I just am too dumb to even know what the biggest problem is. But at least in my eyes, that's the truth that I see. What is, and how do you break down your goal for 2021? And you don't have to say specifically, but what is like the metric that you are after?
Ooh, this is my first public one.
You don't have to say like.
It's okay, gonna happen. Okay. We were first saying 3 million, but the goal is 5 million in revenue, gross revenue from the agency and then our stores. How am I gonna get there? It's really just like my biggest focus is like systems, processes, and like empowering my team. You know, I have such a great team. That's really just allowed me to get here. So like really trying to empower my team and just be a leader. I feel like something that I've embodied is like saying, as weird as it sounds, like I check myself sometimes now that I have team members, like, oh, like if I'm not doing this, I'm letting my team down, right? Like what I mean by that is like, for example, tonight after our call, probably stay up to like 3 a.m. because I have a lot of stuff to do. I just went to Mexico. I'm still behind on a week of work. But if I don't stay up, I'm gonna be like, crap, like I'm gonna let my team down, my team members down. So it's like, I feel like as entrepreneurs, like once you grow from that like freelancer, like doing your thing by yourself, which you can, right? You can always do that, you know, but if you want to go to 7 figures, it's gonna be hard to do it yourself. And if you're gonna do it yourself, you're gonna be working a lot. Unless like you have a super high ticket course, you know, you're doing like, you know, 100 people at 10K, which is $1 million in revenue, right? But that's my biggest goal, is just empowering our team and really empowering the businesses that we work with. You know, we have some clients that, well, most of our clients, regardless of if they're a smaller business or a larger business, you know, we really do treat all of our clients like family, right? For example, on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I was getting blown up left and right on Thanksgiving. On Thanksgiving, my parents are like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Mom, I'm scheduling the ads. Like, we're gonna spend 50K in a day. Of course, I'm gonna be on top of like their ad account, right?" So it's like, but like seeing the impact that we're able to do for these businesses is, you know, so amazing. So really just like trying to impact as many people and just build like more of a culture for our team and our clients as well. You know, we're gonna start shipping out awards to our clients that make 6 figures in revenue with us, which is like super cool for branding. It'll be fun. But that, and then just, I feel like focusing on myself more too, like really trying to like push myself to, I feel like your revenue goals and your business goals, they have to be aligned with who you are and how you develop as a person. You know, the reason why I grew so much last year is because I invested, you know, almost 6 figures into mentors, right? But like, if I would have kept taking that money and not that reinvesting, then I would be who knows where I would be, right? So that's like my main high level goal this year for sure. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm actually in a pretty similar ballpark revenue wise. I have my conservative estimates. I have my, my target, and then I have my moonshot number. Um, I have my like I'm really this year focusing on my impact metric and building out systems to like make sure we hit that. Like a big focus for me this year is on a quantity of video testimonials of happy and successful customers, and um, and then also I within Maxi I have like the $12.99 a month software. I have like a goal for um, a number of daily actions filled out. So within Maxi, there's a process that people do on a 3, 4, 5 day per week basis called the daily action, which basically is essentially like a daily review, an 80-20 planning session for the next day, and then you press a button and you play your master vision. And actually, I didn't even tell you this, but a lot of the questions I'm asking you are like fundamental questions that everyone in Maxi has to know. So, so they have to know what they think is the biggest problem in the world. They have to know what their 1 year goal is and how to break that down in terms of an impact metric, like not just $3 million a year, but you I didn't even have to. Obviously, you're already focused on this. Is the first thing you said, but it's like the value you're delivering to your customers and making sure they see an ROI. So yeah, I have those numbers that I review on a consistent basis. Who is a role model that you look up to that is worthy and capable of achieving that $5 million goal that you've set for you and your team? And what are the characteristics that you're focusing on this year to develop to make sure that you hit that?
I would definitely say my main mentor, Joel
Okay.
Kaplan is my mentor.
I've heard that name.
Yeah, he's a beast. He's a beast for agency stuff. He definitely.
Where's he from?
He's from originally Colombia, but I think he lives in whatchamacallit, in Denver.
Okay.
That's where he currently lives. But yeah, from a high level, like some of the habits that they have is like just like being super disciplined. And like I think could repeat the question, was like what like are the characteristics of like someone like that?
Yeah, what are the characteristics that Joel has, for example, that you need to focus on and cultivate in yourself that will allow you to hit 5 million this year?
Right. Yeah, it's a great question. So Joel is like at the mastermind in Mexico. I was there for about 4 or 5 days recently. So we basically like the big motto is like a rising tide raises all ships, right? So like really trying to like empower my team more and like step away, because like I have this tendency like, and I don't even say it right now, in the stage of the business I'm at, we've grown fast. So I'm really like trying to just like put more systems and processes and just remove myself more so I can focus on, the things that are going to push the needle further, like marketing, sales, and learning about e-commerce even more. I have a course and coaching program, but I'm paying people, tens of thousands of dollars to still learn and get knowledge from people that are the best in the field. And I feel like that's what everyone should do, obviously in different stages of business, but it's like, if you're not sharpening your sword, then you're getting duller. And like, that's a quote I just came up with, but like, that's like Instagram caption, literally, because it's true. Like, if you're not trying to improve yourself, then the only thing you can do is get worse.
Atrophy.
Yeah. So I would say the characteristics
yep.
Like empowering people, whether that's your clients, your team. Something we're gonna start doing for our clients that are at like a certain because we have revenue shares with our clients that are like, really bigger brands, like 6 figures a month, 7 figures a month. We have revenue shares just because like it makes more sense because our interests are aligned with them versus like us paying like a fat retainer, right? So like, we're gonna start doing like masterminds with our clients, like one-on-one masterminds, just because that's like super valuable to them as their marketing partner, right? So really partnering up with these businesses and just trying to over deliver. Because Joel, his coaching isn't cheap, right? But he over delivers for sure. Like we got his program of basically 5x our revenue in then like 120 days for a business. So it's definitely worth it. But it was also the most expensive thing I bought, right? So it's like you got to give or take. And if I would have, I feel like this comes with a lot of mentors as well. Even when I paid my mentor and had success, like when I paid Joel, the amount of coaching that I actually got, like I wasn't getting on live coaching calls all the time. They deliver that, right? They deliver that if needed. It was more about like taking information in, and then the biggest thing I learned from Joel is massive action, just like being a huge action taker. And that's why like I've been so less active on social media, as weird as it sounds. I'm just trying to like just build and like let the results speak. And that's how my brand is, right? I don't flex cars to get clients. I just show like ads and like what we give for businesses,
Nice. I love it. What are 3 items on your personal and or business bucket list? 3 things you dream of doing.
Ooh, personal.
In the next year.
Ooh, the next year. I don't know. That's a good one. I mean, personal, I definitely want a girlfriend for sure. Cause like
You single ladies, hit them up.
We're gonna hang out in a month, like, yo, what's up with the ladies? You're like, no los chicas para mí. I'm kidding. But definitely, I would say I want a girlfriend. But aside from that, like, I don't know. I feel like my goals this year, like, I want to empower my team. Like, really, just like, this is my biggest focus. Is just like, just be a leader and empower people, whether it's my team or our customers. Become more fit for sure. Definitely want to be 200 pounds by Q2. So I actually had a lacrosse scholarship. We used to play lacrosse and football in high school. So when I dropped out, I was like about 200 pounds, freaking swole, and I lost all that weight.
You dropped out of high school?
I dropped out of college.
Oh, okay. All right, got it.
Yeah, dropped out of college.
Right. So girlfriend, be more fit, 200 pounds, and one more?
Yeah, I don't know. As weird as it sounds, it's just like my goals are like, I don't know. I feel like once you get to a certain point in business and life, it's just like the goals are more like, of course you have those monetary numbers, but I really feel like the goals are less monetary, like better company culture, better operational efficiency, things of that nature. Less of like, those are my main focuses, like becoming more efficient with the results or reporting for our clients, getting more accurate on tracking for our clients, right? And just being better, making my team members better, helping them be better, being a better person, and most of all, just impacting hundreds of businesses. We want to have 100 clients by the end of this quarter. So definitely excited for that, and just want to just grow. How about yourself?
Amazing. Yeah, no, I relate on the company culture thing. I'm really focused on building my team this year as well. I scheduled my first trip with my team out to Dubai in March.
Ooh, you gotta play Dubai. You gotta play that song. That song is gonna be fire.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm excited, like, to obviously that was a reward for a good January. But yeah, to build that culture is definitely key. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Like at a certain point, it starts to turn, like your business and personal goals kind of blend together. Probably even more so for me than for you, because I have much more of a lifestyle brand. You do too. You definitely do, and you do a really good job at it. But yeah, like there's definitely a certain lifestyle that I am building that is actually extremely aligned to my to my business. So there'll be things that I'm rolling out in the next several months, and I got a new spot in the hills that I'm going to be having kind of like thinker dinners at, for example. So like a weekly dinner at my place with founders of 6, 7, 8-figure companies. And that's just something I've always wanted to host.
When is this?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, it's going to be, I want it to be a weekly occurrence. I just think it's, I mean, I love that type of thing. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, so
Man.
there's that. And then, no, I'm really crossing it off, honestly, with just living in the Hollywood Hills. Like I'm neighbors down the street from Johnny Depp, uh, uh, Sean and Camilla, Sean Mendes is down the street.
Yeah, the lifestyle was insane, man. When I was in LA, because I was born in Cali actually. When I was in LA recently, like for a couple weeks ago, man, insane.
Yeah. So I mean, this year is really like, I want to knock out that fascination with Hollywood while having a tremendous impact with my content and my business, and really take LA for what it is and just network like crazy, but also just be inspired by everyone around me, and grow my company and my brand and my business to, you know I mean, the goal is really like 5x what it is right now. That would be, I'd view that as a big win. What's a perfect day? I know we already kind of talked about this, but what's a perfect day for you?
Honestly, I think the perfect day is just waking up early, like getting my morning routine in, getting a workout in, and then like just like making sure like it just I don't know. As weird as it sounds, like I don't feel like I'm gonna have a perfect day this whole year. This sounds so bad, but it's just like I feel like
Wow. Okay.
I mean no, it's just like I just like have like a and this team, my team members, I'm just a very like black and white person. Like I don't feel like it can ever be. I don't feel like there can ever be a perfect day. I don't know. This is just how my mindset is. I feel like there's things that are like there's if you hold yourself up to such a high standard, you can achieve a lot of things. Like my perfect day would be like all my company's operations like were handled completely. Like I could turn my phone off, turn my laptop off, not have to worry about any fires, and just have fun, just work out, like go do something fun I've never done with like a group of friends. That's what I would be like for fun, I would say. But like other than that, I don't know. I just get such like an adrenaline rush delivering results for our clients. It's crazy. Like for example, we had this client that did like 116K in a day from a live. Because we run ads for course creators too, for a live launch. And I was there with my whole team in person. Most adrenaline I've ever felt in a day. Because we were grinding literally our whole team flew into Atlanta when I lived there. And like we rented out a house and had a party with some influencers for a day. And they hit that the same day of the party. So that was a perfect day, right? It was such a great day.
Yeah. So you did have a perfect day.
Yeah, I did have a perfect day. Maybe when I get married, that'll be the perfect day.
Got it. Okay, saving it for the girl. I like that, bro. These girls are gonna fall if there's any listening to our nerdy ecom talk right now.
I mean,
no, I have actually a really amazing female audience. That's super into this type of world. So who knows? You might get some DMs, man. Who knows?
Yeah, mindset's important especially for women. Especially the girls I've seen that I'm like really taking like self-development and empowerment, like empowering yourself and others. It's the quickest way to grow in like everywhere in life. So that's awesome, man.
All right, a couple last questions here. Any material desires you have this year? Things I mean, like big thing. Go ahead.
I don't know. I mean, I might get a place in Miami, like a penthouse in Miami with my partners. We're looking at one, but I don't know. Like that's not as weird as it sounds. Just like my material desires like aren't like actual like like a Rolex or a car. It'd be like stores, like
right.
having more brands. Like just producing more revenue every single day. But I mean, I think I bought my first car, a Mustang, last year. I have my own place now, so maybe when I turn 22, like I'll get like a supercar or something. But I'm more invested. Like honestly, like I'm more of like a like once you have the essentials, a car and a place. Like I'm more in that stage in my life where I'm like, let's invest, right? Like I'm heavily into cryptocurrency, real estate, investing into more e-commerce brands. Like I rather have my money work for me. So the day I feel like for like material stuff, like you need to have that balance of like asking yourself why you're buying it, right? For example, I got a Mustang because I like Mustangs, right? I could have bought I could have bought an AMG, I could have bought an M4. I just like Mustangs, right? But if I would have been buying those other cars, yes, Mercedes are cool. I love Mercedes, but like I feel like I would have at the time I would have been buying it like not for the right reasons, not because I needed a car that was like not crazy expensive, but more of like something that just like is fun and like a reward, I guess. What about you?
Got it. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of hitting it with like the hills thing is obviously an expense, but it's also something that is like, I mean, I totally intend to double my money on the investment. And like anything I buy material, because I have such a heavy lifestyle brand, there's an ROI, and there has to be a plan for an ROI before I put money down on it. Actually, funny thing you mentioned the car. Like I rented a Bentayga for a few days because I had to make a trip um, down to Laguna,
Oh yeah.
and it wasn't cheap. Bentayga is a nice car. I used it for ads. I took a couple pictures in there and started running some ads, and it's the top performing ad in the Bentley. So already got an ROI on that. um, so yeah, I mean, I'm probably gonna get a Tesla sometime in the next actually week or so because I do need a car. I don't have one right now out here. And Tesla is actually another thing I've thought about a lot. Like I record a lot of podcasts, and I like to do them on the fly. I actually love driving. So like the Tesla is going to be perfect for me to record podcasts.
Yeah, that'd be super cool for content.
Yeah. All right.
Super
Last kind of like official sort of maxi question is 5 words or less. What is your mission on this planet?
Oh, that's a good one. 5 words or less. Honestly, to impact as many, physical product-based businesses and empower others. Really, I would say like it's like from a high level, like the main like reason. Because that's why I feel like God's put me on this planet to spread His word and also like be a good example to others. Like what happens when you be consistent. Yeah, I mean the businesses we work with, for example, we're working with a skincare brand because we love clients that like sell certain unique products. What they're doing for their customers is very good. They're letting their customers get better skin, and that might help them feel better, not like feel better or deal with anxiety or whatever that is. So we're empowered. Like our services are automatically empowering our clients, their businesses, their employees, and most of all, the products that people are buying.
Love it. All right, Kendall, that's really all I had for my questions here. Was there anything else you wanted to add? I mean, where can people find you? Best
Yeah.
place to find you? Instagram at.
If you guys are interested, anyone's interested in learning e-commerce, learning more, you can always shoot me a DM on Instagram. It's KNDALL. It's like my Instagram, my name Kendall without the E. We do run an e-commerce marketing agency, so any businesses, regardless if you sell a product online or you sell a service, more than happy to give you guys a free consultation just to offer value or see how we can help you guys. Our website's Maybach Media, so just maybach-media.com. And I would love to connect to anyone, just here to offer value. Arlin and his community is awesome. So definitely excited to, continue to get to know you guys better.
Amazing. Yeah, guys, to make it easier, when you shoot Kendall a message, just put Arlin as the first word so that he sees it in his DM box, because I'm sure you get a ton of messages every day, just so he can sort through that. And that way he'll be able to see, okay, this is coming from Arlin's podcast.
Sure.
I love it, man. Any last things you wanted to say? Any last messages?
No, I mean, I would say like really just like my best piece of advice. Like I want, regardless of who you are, even if I don't know you guys, just everyone to like, really just push yourself to be the best version of yourself this year. A lot of people went through a lot of hard stuff last year, including myself, not only with Corona, just financial stuff, right? So I would say, go and try and find whatever that is going to fill you up. That's not money, right? For me, it's like impacting people and my relationship with Jesus, right? Whatever that is for you, if you're interested in that, you can always message me or just go on Google and dive in. But that's what my biggest takeaway would be from all this.
Amazing. All right, Kendall, it's been great to have you on.
Awesome, man.
Thank you. Like to be really, to bring this into now, like right now, as I'm speaking, I recognize that, God is in our presence, right? Like this conversation, like this is God speaking through both of us.
Of course.
like God is within you. I like the idea of God is within you, but you are not God, right? Like God
Yeah.
is you are a droplet in the body of ocean. Like if God is the ocean, then you are a droplet. So the droplet of rain is like God is in the droplet of rain, but the droplet of rain is not God. God is much bigger than that, right? So in the conversation we're having in this very moment, we're in the presence of God. We're in the kingdom of heaven. That's one reason I mentioned that quote, Luke 17:21. It's like, God is here and now.